Alabama should get a good commitment today. And we're going to talk about a wide receiver who might just have his breakout year.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. Want to thank you every day for being here every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. And thanks, everybody, for making this your first listen every single day. You guys are the best. So, Jimmy, we talked about it yesterday that Tayden Kawaa could be committing. And yes, it is spelled with a W, not a V, but it's pronounced V, not W. I mean, whatever. So we talked that he might commit yesterday, but then he postponed it to today, which again, fine.
Today being Tuesday.
Today being Tuesday.
Today being Tuesday as we record this, and y'all are listening Tuesday, Wednesday, or whenever.
Whenever you listen, we'll take whenever you want to listen. We would like you to subscribe, though. That would be awesome. But I'm looking at the list of quarterbacks. I find it kind of interesting. I mean, Jet Tamala, number 10, number 11 range, Tayden Kawaa in the 13-ish range. And I'm really, really happy with those two. Honestly, I like Jared Curtis, who's committed to Georgia. I like Diabell a lot, who has apparently showed out this summer and has jumped up, in some eyes, to the number one quarterback in the country.
I'd rank Diabell number one based on tape, but Jared Curtis is really close.
Yeah. I like Faison Brandon, who at least one side has as the best player in the country. I'm not sure I'm on board with that.
He's very good.
He's very good. Keyshawn Henderson or Keyshawn. I don't know how you say it.
I think it's Keyshawn or Kayshawn, actually. I think know that Alabama liked him a ton. Now, Alabama liked Jared Curtis, Diabell, and Faison, and Alabama was involved with all of them briefly. But those are the type quarterbacks you're just not going to sign a year after signing Keelan Russell.
No, you're not, and especially throw in the fact: what if Ty Simpson is awesome, but not awesome enough to go to the pros? I mean, so they could be looking at, hey, I'm behind Ty Simpson, I'm behind Keelan Russell, and by the time everybody leaves, I'm already a junior.
And throw in the impossibility of it financially. I mean, I know we talk about that more here than you probably hear anywhere else, but that's because we know this more. I mean, this is a bigger factor than, I'm concerned that I read stuff all the time from even national writers that I don't think understand how settlement and revenue share and all that. I mean, I think, and I should have expected it to slowly catch on, and it wasn't going to be an overnight thing. But here's just a fact. You can't, unless you're getting some sort of a major discount from a player, which does happen, you're not going to sign a room full of five-star quarterbacks. You can't fit them all in under the cap unless you're spending your entire revenue share on quarterbacks.
Yeah, agreed. And there was a national show I listened to. I actually drove to Athens, Georgia yesterday, of all places, because we do some work there with my company. And so I got to listen to a lot of national shows. And a lot of folks were talking about the blue chip ratio.
Yeah,
which is a great way to kind of figure out, all right, who's involved with a potential national championship. Yeah. And the blue chip ratio, for those who don't know, you can go check it out. I think it's on CBS. And
Bud
Elliott does a good job with it. It's essentially
he kind of invented that,
and it's a great idea. And it's like, okay, these teams have the most talent and the highest ratio of 4- and 5-star recruits, and Alabama's way up there, I think at 89%. Georgia and Ohio State are right there. Texas A&M is up there this year, which makes a lot of sense. Now, it's not saying that because Alabama or Ohio State have 89%, one of them's winning it. It's saying Alabama's at 89%. I think they're top. And then on the other end is somebody like Auburn. I don't think it is Auburn. It's somebody, and
Auburn
they're
is one of the
18.
Auburn is one of the 18 schools that satisfy the definition of hey,
Right.
you have enough blue chip guys to win the national championship. There's 18 schools. Auburn's one of them. I think
Yeah.
he goes all the way down to roughly 50% of your roster has to
Right.
be blue chips.
Yeah. And so the point being, one of these 18 teams is winning it all. Now, and you say, okay, but see, recently it's been more like one of these 12 teams or one of these 9 teams. The blue chip ratio is expanding somewhat, and I think it's even going to expand more considering what's going on. So you need to hit on, even though Tayden Kawaa is a 4-star by most services, you need to hit on your Tayden Kawaas. You need to hit on your Zay Halls. You need to hit on those dudes that aren't gonna show up in the blue chip ratio quite as much, because you're not going to be able to have 89% 4 and 5 stars coming up very soon.
Also think Bud is I read his big piece about it. I think he's not going to use the word struggling, but I think he's struggling a little bit to factor in the transfer portal and how the portal is. It's like there's a different distribution of wealth now with high school recruiting for those reasons that Luke just cited. So now there's a larger distribution of the wealth, and it's going to get even more so with revenue share sort of taking over as the primary driver. But then you have the transfer portal sort of further redistributing the wealth. And how does the fact that you signed all these guys in high school, but half of them have left, how do you factor that in to Bud Elliott's thing? But I do think people need to pay attention to it because it bats 1,000%. It bats a
ever since he's done it.
Ever since he's done it, he has correctly predicted a national champion out of his bucket of schools that he said could win it. And Alabama is one of those schools. Alabama has been every year that Bud Elliott's ever done it. And Alabama's won 6 of them since he's done it. I think it's very encouraging what Alabama's number is. And a shout out to Saban and DeBoer, both, for recruiting this well. Let's remember this season. I'm going to count it up again soon because it's fun. I believe basically almost down to the dude, 50% of this roster recruited by Saban, 50% recruited by DeBoer. I mean, down to the
dude sounds like a song by Steely Dan, doesn't it?
Down to it. Let's send that to, what's that guy's name? Fagan?
Yeah.
Is it Walter Fagan?
I think that's right. So yeah, that's good.
That's a Steely Dan guy. But no, what I mean by down to the dude is I think there's roughly 82 players that we know are on scholarship, roughly 82. And literally the breakdown is something like 41 and 41.
Yeah. Now, again, the other things to factor in, because it's so funny, you come up with a blue chip ratio and then all of a sudden everybody's like, well, I can see where this team's not good. They shouldn't be included. And I'm like, no, this is a mathematical thing. This isn't like, and there are other factors.
There's like no subjectiveness to this at all.
I was listening to a couple other guys. Yeah, I was listening to a couple other guys talk about LSU yesterday. Actually, some friends of mine that do a show, and they were talking about LSU, and they have all this talent. They should roll through. And I said, I interjected. I sent them something. I don't know if they used it on the show, but I said, it's not just how much talent you have. You also have to factor in the schedule. The schedule is a monster piece of this.
Yes.
And people, like, they get hung up on one thing. Like, I remember for years, everybody was saying Alabama could just roll the ball out there and beat anybody. And I said, yeah, that's true on probably any given Saturday. But for the course of a whole season, when you're dealing with the SEC, if you can't just roll the ball out there if you have at Georgia, LSU at home, and at Texas A&M. It's not going to work that way. So, if you play Kentucky 12 times, okay, I can buy it. But you have to factor in the schedule sometimes. And again, it's sort of like Indiana last year. And I think that was our point throughout the whole thing. Like, everybody's celebrating Indiana. And I'm like, well, they avoided every single worth a dang Big Ten opponent except Ohio State, who beat them rather handily. And they didn't even win the league, and they played nobody in the non-con. So, yeah, they had a pretty good year. Now, I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying it's not the same as going 11-1 if you play Alabama's schedule this year. It's not the same thing. So, there's just so many things to factor in, but I think people get hung up when they start talking about blue chip ratio. They're like, okay, I got to pick somebody from this. Yeah, you do need to. You do need to, because it has worked out mathematically, and it has worked out on the field that one of these teams is going to win it. But then you have to start factoring in things like schedule and returning quarterbacks, and because if Alabama's got 3 5-star quarterbacks, well, that factors in the blue chip ratio. But if none of them have played a snap, that should factor into your prediction.
No, that's a great point. That's a great point. And like you said, they have to pan out. But how remarkable with Tayden Kawaa coming today that in the year after you get Keelan Russell, yeah, you don't go get another 5-star that no one reasonably expected, but you get 2 of the top 13. 2 of the top 13.
Well, and it's not even that you get 2 of the top 13. It'd be one thing if Tayden Kawaa had said, all right, I'm announcing on July 22nd, and Jet Tamala surprisingly committed on July 21st. You say, and Kawaa had already been set on Alabama. You're like, okay, I'm going to commit to Alabama, but I'm going to sort of keep my options open. Tamala committed more than a month ago, plus or minus. Yeah. And so Kawaa has had time to absorb that. Realize
it's not
Tamala's coming.
Not scared of the competition.
Not scared of the competition.
In the same class. And hey, if I had to pick between the two, Tamala or Kawaa, I would pick Tamala. How surprised am I going to be if Kawaa is better? None surprised.
Zero surprised. I'm with you.
None surprised.
And the one reason I think you and I both would pick Tamala is because he looks like the better athlete.
More pure athlete, a better pure athlete. And we saw him do well in Elite 11 competition where he's surrounded by his peers that he's sort of competing against for these rankings, and he held up pretty well. So in that sense, I got Tamala ahead.
Well, speaking of something that should always be at the top of your head or top of your mind, I think that's a better way to say that. But I was trying to segue, and it never works out for me. But game time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a big ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game
tonight in Nashville. Coldplay tonight in Nashville. Don't bring you know who.
Maybe it's game day, and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food or drinks or merchandise or divorce lawyers, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it all possible, baby. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On Major League Baseball, making it easy to browse the Major League Baseball app for exciting upcoming MLB game. Something like the Braves and the Giants.
Look at you, knowing who the Braves are playing today. Look at you.
Well, I was sort of cruising around Atlanta a little bit yesterday. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege. That's all one word for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today because last-minute tickets, lowest price, Jimmy Stein guarantee. I like how you're buying into the game. I'm going to say it anyway, so you're like, this is Jimmy Stein guarantee. Just tell
Well, I'm a Game Time fan. Using it right now, not going to Coldplay in Nashville tonight. Might go to a concert Saturday at the War.
I am curious, is this going to be the first? Is this going to be their first concert since the controversy?
No, they played in Wisconsin, I think, a couple nights, and they made reference to it in their show. I think they're making jokes, as they should. It wasn't their fault. I'm sure they appreciate that they went viral again. Coldplay, I'm sure it's not their fault.
Well, I think the one thing everybody took from it, yes, what he did was wrong. What she was doing was wrong. You got a lot of kids to worry about. But I think most of us were like, you took your side girl to a concert
in front of 1 billion.
It wasn't like you went to a Husker Du concert. You went to.
And also local. It's not like they were on the other side of the country from where they live either.
It's bananas. All right. So let's talk about somebody that may also garner a spotlight this year, and that's Jeremy Bernard. I'm telling you, Jimmy, the focal point that's going to be on Ryan Williams, and I still think Ryan Williams is going to be an All-American, but the focal point that's going to be on him, and then the speed and the strength and the big target ability that Isaiah Horton brings to the table, I think what a great Jeremy Bernard sandwich here. He's the perfect filling between those two pieces of bread.
Germ's really good player, and boy, what a great time for him to come up in this roster ranking as the 8th best player, as we ranked him on this football team, the 8th best player on the roster. Todd McShay, who I respect a lot. Todd's a good guy, and he's very smart about the draft. Todd right now in his current rankings has Jeremy Bernard the number 2 receiver in this draft, and that is stunning to me. On the one hand, I am thrilled, because this is going to raise Germ's profile, because now the whole nation sees this, and the college football nation sees this and is talking about it. And I agree that due to circumstances beyond his control, where Germ goes to Washington and he's overshadowed by Rome Odunze and the other 2 guys, Polk and McMillan, the other guys they have that were draftable. So he was the 4th guy there and overshadowed. He goes to Alabama, ends up overshadowed by an even younger player, Ryan Williams, and he's in his shadow, and it almost seems like Germ is overlooked. So I'm so thrilled that he's now not being overlooked, that Todd McShay loudly has put Germ as the number 2 wide receiver in this draft. Now, that said, I think that's a little bananas for me. I mean, in terms of, is he really going to go in the first round? I hope so. I don't think so, but I hope so. And I say that because I pointed this out on the BOL board. Look, being a first-round receiver is tough. There was only 3 taken in the first round last year, and none of those 3 sound like Jeremy Bernard. Tet McMillan and Emeka Egbuka, Tet McMillan from Arizona, Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, hugely productive. Both had over 1,000 yards receiving seasons. Germ hasn't had any production anywhere approaching Tet McMillan or Egbuka production. And you're like, well, no, he's really more of a size speed guy. The only size speed guy that went in the first round who didn't have that production, but he went in the first round because of speed, is Matthew Golden from Texas. He ran a 4.29 at the combine. So Germ doesn't have the 1,000-yard season. He's not going to have a 4.29 in Indianapolis. So I'm not sure he fits the profile of a first-round pick. Now,
I'm with you.
Just because he goes day 2, does that mean he's not good?
No.
Of course not. And that's where I think he is, day 2, which is fantastic. So I don't want to make it sound like it's critical to say, well, I don't think he's as good as McShay thinks. Germ is a great player, and I'm so happy that he's getting this kind of publicity.
Couple of things. Number one, I keep forgetting Germ is 6'2".
Yeah.
Do you forget that? He doesn't look 6'2".
It's because he's fast. I think guys that are fast, and he is fast. I think he is going to run. I'm going to bet right now. I'm going to go 4.48, 4.49 in Indianapolis.
The other thing I was all ready to say, hey, this is one of those, he found a diamond in the rough guys.
Yeah.
I'd also forgotten he signed initially with Michigan State.
Yep. Played his freshman season with Peyton Thorne.
And then he switched it over. And not only that, he was the number 38 wide receiver in the country, which if you told me any given year, I'd say, yeah, he's probably just outside the top 247 or whatever, 250. But he was number 239. That meant there were a lot of ranked wide receivers that year. But I'm not seeing a lot of names that I would consider household or, that the pros know too much about necessarily. Evan Stewart's one of them, but we know he's hurt. Luther Burden went in the draft this year. Very good player, we know. Tet McMillan was in that class. I believe he's going to be an awesome player. Aaron Anderson and Kobe Prentice were in this class.
Aaron Anderson, first team All SEC per the media, or first or second team anyway. Boy, he has developed late into a good player. Aaron took a while for him to find himself, but now that he's a senior, I think Aaron Anderson is now living up to the high school hype.
Well, let me ask you this. Who would you rather have? Now, we are a Bama show, so I know the bias is going to be built in. People probably won't take us at our word. I'm going to say this. I would probably choose Jeremy by a nose. And I'm not – I think both of them are really good. But see, I can't get out of my head the Aaron Anderson that probably underachieved at Alabama. He went to LSU and he's played really well.
And then underachieved. He didn't do anything in his year one at LSU.
But he did well last year.
He did well last year. And now he's a good player. I ain't taking anything away from Aaron Anderson. And when people say, y'all are just choosing Jeremy because y'all are Bama homers, true. But also, what I'll say is Todd McShay a Bama homer?
Yeah.
No. Who does McShay think is better? Germ. So hey.
One of them's 5'9", one of them's 6'2". Now you can say, hey, what's Tyreek Hill? Okay, fine. But I don't think any of us believe Aaron Anderson's going to be Tyreek Hill either.
Germ's not only 6'2", he's pretty ripped up. It's not like he's 6'2" and wiry. That dude's
Anderson is too, though.
Shredded. Oh, Anderson's built well. Anderson's a thick kid, but Jeremy is a thick kid. He's really good. I love the fact that no matter where Jerm goes, he's never been a wide receiver one, and he's not going to finish his college career ever as a wide receiver one. Yet he's going to go as high as what I'm saying is the second round. I think second, third round is where he winds up, and I hope I'm wrong and McShay's right.
How about this? And this is probably just coincidental, but you do wonder if it is a reflection of any kind of difference in receiver recruiting. It's probably not, because Saban always went after whoever was the biggest badass that year. But the three top receivers Alabama signed that year, Aaron Anderson at 5'9", Kobe Prentice at 5'10", and then Shaz Preston, who clocked in right at 6 feet. Jeremy Bernard, at least 2 inches taller than all of them. And it looks like this staff is like, if you ain't 6'1" or above and your name isn't Ryan Williams, don't call us, we'll call you, which I'm down with.
Hilarious that Shaz Preston, I believe, is at Tulane now, going to catch balls from Jake Retzlaff, who's been in the news quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think that'll be Shaz Preston's quarterback. And Jake Retzlaff is a good player. Boy, Shaz to this point hasn't really lived up to it, right? And
I think he was the number one receiver according to ESPN.
Yeah, and and now is at Tulane, and I don't think lit it up at Tulane last year. I'll have to double check that, but I don't believe that he did. Kobe Prentice, solid contributing wide receiver at Alabama, but not a great player. Interested to see at Baylor in that league how Kobe does. I hope he's wide receiver one or wide receiver two at Baylor, because I do he's got a good quarterback there in Sawyer Robertson. I hope he catches a lot of balls, and it'll be interesting to me. How funny is it that us Alabama fans, the night before Alabama plays, will get to see Kobe Prentice versus Auburn, giving Alabama fans a rooting interest, as if Alabama wasn't already rooting for Baylor. But now you've got Kobe Prentice there for the Baylor Bears. So that'll be fun.
That is, I'll say this: it's not the best game. It's certainly not the best game of the weekend. We all know that. It's not even close. But it's a really nice Friday night game.
It's fascinating. And earlier this year, I was picking Baylor to win. I flopped. I now think Auburn's going to win the game, but I think it's going to be tight. That's going to be good. I bet that's a 60-minute game with Auburn winning kind of in the end.
All right, let me tell you about Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts and investments and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Monarch Money is just the best. It's helped me so much. It helped me realize I'm spending way too much money at places like a Dreamland or where else do I go? I go to a lot of barbecue places, Martin's in Cabo Heights.
Harry's Bar.
Yeah, bar places. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for half off your first year. ACC Media Days kick off today. We talked about the Big Ten just for a second yesterday. We didn't really so much talk about the Big Ten as we just complained about Penn State's crappy schedule, which is it is bad. I would dare a Penn State fan to defend that schedule. I mean,
It is outrageous.
sad.
It is crazy, considering that I fully believe Penn State's one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah.
And they do play Oregon, Ohio State. You know, they do play the other really good teams, the Big Ten. But it's kind of like it. It's kind of like they play Oregon, Ohio State, and then they're going to run roughshod over everybody else. And hey, nod to James Franklin. He does a good job of something that's a little underrated, and that's beating everybody you're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a good track record in games in which Penn State's favored. And I know half the people listening go, duh, you're supposed to beat the teams you're favored. Yeah, but who does every time out? He's
We didn't.
he's remarkably consistent in terms of beating who he's supposed to beat and losing to teams he's not as good as. He's a good bet there. But I think Penn State's really good this year. They do have a heck of a lineup.
But moving over to Clemson, you know, of course, they opened with LSU. I mean, I'm on record as saying I think Clemson wins that game. I'm not sure who I'm actually pulling for. I'm usually a pro SEC guy, but I'm sort of pulling for Clemson because I'm kind of hoping if LSU loses that, maybe their wheels can come off at some point. I don't know. I don't really care, but I'm hoping for a good game more than anything. But then they have Troy, and then they're at Georgia Tech. So they've got two of their first three games are certainly losable, and at home against Syracuse is probably not going to be a walk in the park. The ACC has gotten better. It's not even in the SEC or Big Ten's area code. We all know this, but the ACC is better.
There's competitive teams in that league. I think Miami's pretty good. Louisville's pretty good. Georgia Tech is a great sleeper pick for, hey, when people ask, okay, who's this year's SMU? Who's this year's Indiana? Georgia Tech's a great pick there because they've got a really nice schedule. I mean, they play one or two games they're not likely to win, but they may be favored in every other game they play. And so I think they're a team to watch with Haynes King seemingly in year 10 of his career at Georgia Tech. But Clemson's the best team in this league. I have Clemson winning the ACC and being the only playoff team from the ACC. That would be my pick. I do think Clemson's good. Sort of like Luke said, I'm half hoping this, just in terms of how it would look good for the SEC. What if Clemson is undefeated in the ACC, wins the ACC title game, so they go to the playoff, but they have two losses, both to SEC teams, losing to SEC teams to sandwich their schedule, starting off the year with a loss to LSU, ending the year with a loss to South Carolina, but beating every ACC team in between. That would be fun for me as like, the SEC is some kind of dominant conference, you know, if you could say that. But I'm with Luke here. I think Clemson at home will beat LSU in a really good game. And if this game was in Baton Rouge, I'd pick LSU.
And next year it will be, but the problem will be there'll be no Garrett Nussmeier or Cade Klubnik. It'll be two new dudes. So
Michael Van Buren versus Christopher Vazina from Birmingham.
Yeah, didn't they?
Very possible.
Isn't there another Birmingham guy they got committed this year that like is sort of off the radar?
Spain Park quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a good. I mean, he's a talented, good player. It's just that he hasn't gotten a ton of high-level recruiting attention, but Clemson snapped him up. But
okay,
Dabo likes him some Birmingham.
I think the other team that people are keeping an eye on in the ACC, I mean, outside of SMU, I'm not ready to even venture into the SMU territory. They disappointed me so much last year because they hosed Alabama. I mean, bottom line, we get in if SMU wins that game. We get in. And
that's true. And we should have been in over SMU anyway.
yeah. But I mean, so they hosed us twice.
Should have been in over SMU anyway. So I'm sort of anti, but hey, if they win 10 games again, and I do think Rhett Lashley's a thing. I mean, I think Rhett Lashley ends up with a really big job in the SEC or the Big Ten, probably the SEC. I think he's a good coach, and I do think SMU is ascending. They're built to do well in the rev share NIL world now that they're in a big conference. So they're probably a thing going forward. I just lump them in with Miami, Louisville, and Georgia Tech as maybes. But
Miami,
Clemson's good.
That's where I wanted to go. Miami, listen to Miami's schedule. Now, I'm going to give them props, but I'm going to give them props knowing that this might be the demise of Mario Cristobal because they host Notre Dame, not easy.
Could be a loss.
They also play South Florida, should be a win. But again, Miami is sort of like, I mean, it's like Alabama playing Troy.
You can't trust
of course
Miami.
it's supposed to be.
You
They're
can't
going to
trust
fight.
Miami to definitely beat good teams. They
Yeah.
probably will, but they might not.
Listen to this stretch: South Florida, then at Florida State, then Louisville. Now, most of those are at home, and Florida State probably isn't going to be great again, but Miami still has a leg up. But I'm just telling you, the problem is where they are in the schedule. You got South Florida, and then Florida, and then you go to Florida State.
And here's the thing about Miami. Last year, their defense was terrible, but they still won a lot of games. Why? Cam Ward. And now Miami fans will say, oh, we're still good at quarterback, Carson Beck. True, but he's not Cam Ward. Cam Ward could win games by himself. I don't know that Carson Beck can. And boy, Miami needed a big time playmaking quarterback just to win games last year. They had that in Cam Ward. Carson Beck to me is a good quarterback, but the type of quarterback that needs good players around him to be successful. And I think Carson Beck is a step back from Cam Ward.
All right, that's going to do it for today's pod. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.